Coming up on 5 Minute News. Biden declares major disaster in Texas as federal aid flows. Witnesses recall horrific massacre in Ethiopian holy city. And US plane scatters engine debris over Denver homes. It's Sunday, February 21. I'm Anthony Davis. A month into the job and focused on the coronavirus, Joe Biden is seeing his disaster management skills tested after winter storms plunged Texas, Oklahoma, and neighboring states into an unusual deep freeze that left millions shivering in homes that lost heat and power, and in many homes, water. At least 69 deaths across the US have been blamed on the blast of unseasonable weather. The White House announced on Saturday that the president had declared a major disaster in Texas, and he had asked for federal agencies to identify additional resources to address the suffering. Biden came into office January 20th, promising to tackle a series of brewing crises, starting with the coronavirus pandemic and its ripple effects on the economy. He tacked on systemic racism and climate change as top priorities. And now he's contending with storms that have not only imperiled Americans, but also delayed the shipment and administration of millions of doses of coronavirus vaccines. Biden said on Friday that he hopes to travel to Texas next week, but doesn't want his presence and the accompanying presidential entourage to distract from the recovery. Biden, who offered himself during the campaign as the experienced and empathetic candidate the nation needed at this moment in time, is working on several fronts to address the situation and to avoid repeating the mistakes of predecessors who got tripped up by inadequate or insensitive responses in times of disaster. Bodies with gunshot wounds lay in the streets for days in Ethiopia's holiest city. At night, residents listened in horror as hyenas fed on the corpses of people they knew. But they were forbidden from burying their dead by the invading Eritrean soldiers. Those memories haunt a deacon at the country's most sacred Ethiopian Orthodox church in Aksum, where local faithful believe the ancient Ark of the Covenant is housed. As Ethiopia's Tigray region slowly resumes telephone service after 3 months of conflict, the deacon and other witnesses gave a detailed account of what might be its deadliest massacre. For weeks, rumors circulated that something ghastly had occurred at the Church of St. Mary of Zion in late November, with estimates of several hundred people killed. But with Tigray cut off from the world and journalists blocked from entering, little could be verified, as Ethiopian and allied fighters pursued the Tigray region's fugitive leaders. The deacon, who spoke on condition of anonymity because he remains in Aksum, said he helped count the bodies, or what was left, after the hyenas fed. He gathered victims' identity cards and assisted with burials in mass graves. He believes some 800 people were killed that weekend at the church and around the city, and that thousands in Aksum have died in all. The killing continues. On the day he spoke last week, he said he had buried 3 people. If we go to the rural areas, the situation is much worse, he said. The atrocities of the Tigray conflict have occurred in the shadows. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, who won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2019 for making peace with neighboring Eritrea, announced the fighting as the world focused on the US election. He accused Tigray regional forces, whose leaders dominated Ethiopia for nearly 3 decades before he took office, of attacking the Ethiopian military. Tigray's leaders called it self-defense after months of tensions. A United Airlines Boeing jet has scattered debris over a residential area near Denver after one of its engines failed on takeoff and appeared to explode in mid-air. The Boeing 777, with 231 passengers and 10 crew on board, was able to return safely and land at Denver Airport. No injuries were reported. Police in the town of Broomfield posted pictures of what appears to be the front of an engine casing in the front garden of a home. The United Airlines plane was bound for Honolulu. Flight 328 suffered a failure in its right-hand engine, the Federal Aviation Administration said. The aircraft halted the climb at 13,500 feet at a speed of 325 knots and returned to the airport on its one remaining working engine. Broomfield Police urge residents not to touch or move the debris. The FAA and the National Transportation Safety Board will be carrying out an investigation. No injuries were reported on the ground. Images posted online showed smoke trailing from the engine. One video, apparently shot from inside the plane, shows the engine on fire and stripped of its casing. The incident happened shortly after 1 p.m. local time on Saturday. You can subscribe to 5-Minute News on YouTube with your preferred podcast app. Ask your smart speaker or enable 5-Minute News as your Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill. Subscribe, rate and review online at 5minute.news. 5-Minute News is an Evergreen Podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news. Daily.